afternoon. We're here to talk about my choice, some builds that we made, winner on the PGA, fittings, repairs, and reviews. All next on What's on My Drawers Golf Talk. Welcome back to the Golf Shop. Jim McCleary here, and this is What's My Drawers Golf Talk. Why What's in My Drawers? Because old club makers and club fitters are tremendous pack rats. I'm no different. It's about what's in my drawers in my shop, way over there. Okay? Alrighty. So let's say congratulations to Rory winning on a golf course that he is apparently ultimately familiar with, winning there several times. Was he up to 4? I mean, there's 4 or 5. Doing very, very well. They can't talk good enough about him. They're just waiting for somebody other than anybody else to win in order to talk really good about him. And he deserves it this time around because he blew away the field. So good for him. All righty. As we all recognize, if you guys, last Sunday was Mother's Day. And Mother's Day, you know what? Let's see if I can go find this. If I've got one down here. And I do. We're going to do that. There we go. Anyway, Mother's Day. Mother's Day. Robin put me to work on Mother's Day. That seems to be the way it always is. And we took apart some bays out there, and we're getting ready to screen it in. And so I've got an old picture, I'm sure, and we'll show you what it looks like when it's all said and done. However, for Mother's Day, I had another piece of prime rib, and she said that would work just fine. Right there. Not much to look at when you're looking down on it, but when you put it on a plate with a baked potato and some sour cream and cheese, there you go. That is what you call a prime rib. And my youngest son came down, one of my younger of two, came down to visit mom, and then and visit my dad or grandpa. And there's my dad, and there's my youngest son. So I got both sides of it going right there. So there we go. So it was a good family outing. All righty. Before we get into golf one more time, Ohio is OHLQ. For those of you who don't know, very heavily regulated in the liquor industry. That's what the LQ stands for. And they had a single barrel pick that they picked for the state of Ohio, and it was 4 roses. There we go. So I ended up getting a 4 roses pick. Me and Mr. McGolf went to the store in Chillicothe, and we each got 1. So now we have 2. For those of you that like 4 roses, tell me what you think. All right, just tell me what you think. Does this thing follow me? Yep, it's following me. And just tell me what you think, and we'll go from there. Okay, so as far as builds go, coming up, and you're going to see this on the video tomorrow. So again, right here, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That way you'll get when the video uploads. And it's about these 2 clubs. Bore through versus bore through. Which one is, which one isn't, and how to finish them off. Now, I didn't go through the whole thing. I'd already cleaned them up, but what we're talking about here is how to deal with bore throughs, what they really are when somebody describes them, that kind of stuff. So we'll go from there. Another one we did is I fixed some I fixed some Mizunos with some Bourbon shafts, and this is what we saw. This is there's a broken ferrule, and sticking out of the top of this broken ferrule is a tip weight. It's an absolute tip weight. I'm like, now what the heck is that? And so we finally got it pulled out, and we got it changed around. And it was really weird that we measured the heads once they were all done, and they were in line with one another. And so I put the biggest tip weight I could put for either one of them in there, and everything being equal, one came out about a swing weight point and a half lighter than the other one. It was just really odd. I didn't think to see that much of a change, so maybe just the change in the heads. So anyway, that was a bit of a neat repair, having to dig something out and grab it. I grabbed it with some pliers, and I was able to twist it. Another build that I'm in the midst of is another set of Mizunos. These are the high launch. Remember I was telling you about the high launch, about getting more distance with high launch? Well, this is one of those sets right here. And what we put in it was an Acura I-Series 6. All right, I don't know if you, there we go, I-Series 6. And what that did was, and this is a lady golfer, and her swing speed is probably in the 60s, okay? And when we tried this one went further. All right. And the funny part, you would think, well, she needs a 40-gram shaft. Well, the 40-gram shaft worked, and I said, well, let me add a little bit more weight, because what she had was this really with slingy swing where you got right to here and then you slung it. And then I had to always remind her to always finish, right? She had to finish. And once she started doing that, she would hit the ball pretty decent. Well, then I gave her a 50-gram shaft just to see if the weight would help her sling. And it did. I'm like, okay. And then I gave her a 60, and it went further still. I said, okay, we're going to try one more. I tried one more, and the 70, all of a sudden the slinging stopped. So there is a, what do you call it? A lightweight, let's see if this gets it. There we go. There we go. Look at that. I stopped it. So there is a weight in order to be able to hit the club correctly. I guess that's where it is. You know, you see folks out there talking about which is the best way to go, the heaviest or the lightest, right? And in this particular case, it's not that. Would the light have worked? Yes, but the 60 worked the best. Now, does that mean it's the heaviest club that they could use? No, I would say it was still the lightest club that they could wield, because we figured it out, and 60 grams works. So I'm not even sure of the argument of what, you know. Now, what I will say is, when you go lighter, do you pick up swing speed? Only very incrementally, right? It's very, very little. Maybe a mile an hour, maybe two. All things created, it's 2 yards. All right, it's not like a 10-yard thing. And for those guys that are wondering, Angel's Envy, and it was one that we had poured ourselves and finished in a port cask. I got to say, it's not bad, but it's not one of my favorites. Okay, so we're back to this. All right, so we did that. We did the other one. Remember when I showed you these grips, and they were called Tour Edition grips, made in the USA, luxury feel, right? This was the one I was trying to show you before, where they had these grips right here, the different colors. If you look, one's a little bit darker. I don't know if you can see it. This one's a little darker than this one, and then you got a black one here. So it says a firmer inside, and I'm not sure what they mean in comparison to what. But the outside has almost a tacky, velvety feel to it, I guess. And so I was really, really wondering whether or not these would hold up. And so what I've done is, in the last couple of days, I hit 40 shots one day, and I hit another 40 shots the next day. So I got one round of golf in them, basically. And I'm just, the whole time I'm doing like this. So I'm even wearing them out even more. And what have I found? Well, I have found that just a little bit of the rubber tends to not peel off per se, but you can feel that the velvety is coming off and giving way to tacky. And so if you like that particular feel, so what it is, it feels just, you can feel, if you really get in there and do like this with it, I mean, really just knock it down, you can feel where there's like a softer outer layer, and you can feel where that firmness engages. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can go check them out. It's called Tour Edition. I think that's all I had. Oh my gosh. Tour Edition Golf. All righty. Let's see if we'll stop this stuff. Here we go. Okay. So there we got that one. Oh, now you guys saw the Wilson versus Mizuno stuff, which got a lot of looks and views. Which, thank you so very much, guys, for looking at it. Apparently, it interested a lot of people, and so I made my choice. It's in this box. Of course I'm going to be able to make it into a video. Why wouldn't I? Right? Why wouldn't I? All right. And then my shafts, which I've already talked about, are coming from these guys. So I've got the, those are Nippon 950s. We're going to talk more about those when we start doing the video. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to talk about, I'm going to do a video on why I chose them. And then we're going to start a build, and we're going to get, I'm not going to say totally detailed, but it's going to be a fun watch. And then we're going to take them out and see what happens. Okay. So I think we got through all that. Let's go see some comments. Let's go all the way to the top. Here we go. Matt's number one today. No rounds for Matt. He's been doing pitcher or soccer pitch. Okay. When's your favorite time to be out in the golf course? First light, middle of the day, or at dusk? Well, in the past, it's always been the very first. I like being the first round out, the very first one. But my schedule is changing such that might have to go out at the end of the day now. So we're going to have to see how that works out. Oh, I also had a conversation. Well, that would give it away, so I'm not going to tell you. All right, Kent got some staff CBs. Nicely done, Kent. Those are extraordinarily nice. Those are one of my favorite looking golf clubs, and I like them, and I like the thinness of their sole, the radius of the sole. And if I was to hit them, I'd have to jack them about 2 degrees in order to be able to use them in such a manner I could actually get around the course. But well done. Jim Anderson from East Central Scotland. Some really good weather drying the golf courses out. Thank goodness for that. Had some spectacular light shows in the night sky with the northern lights. So did we. We had actually, we were supposed to have 2 nights of them here. The second night I don't think was very conducive for it, but they were running around. Hey, Jim, aren't only getting those light shows in Scotland, we have had them in Halifax and Yorkshire too. Yeah, I think all over. I mean, we got them here in the U.S. And Emmanuel, how are you, sir? Hey, Discipline's here. We will be in and out saying farewell to Normandy invasion veteran. Ooh, well, much respect. And he lived to be 100. Well, I'm sure that man has some stories that he probably never told a soul, and that's okay. And congratulations to him, and internally thank him for his service, because that was an important event. Yes, he would be. All right. Matt's going to be out there. He'll throw 68 in there somewhere. You're playing daily now that you've retired. Well done. What a dream for us all. Have fun, no doubt. Congrats. Hello, Jim. Around Myrtle Beach. Went to Myrtle Beach Classic this past weekend. Had a great time. I was wondering whether or not you guys had either you or Peter got to see it and see how they did. I'm sure there weren't any like top tier names in it because it's brand new and it was against the Quail Hollow run. But hey, and then I guess, how did the guy that was the YouTuber that won the slot, who happened to be an ex-PGA guy, which is fine, and see how he did when he was in the crowd? That would have been a lot of fun. And by the way, where did they play it? Where did they play it? Peter, I've not answered your email, sir, only because we don't carry TaylorMade. So here's your answer. We don't carry TaylorMade, so I can't help you with the purchase. If you need something in it, then I can help you, but unfortunately, we do not carry that line. Absolutely intend to. Well, I hope you enjoy it, Kent. That's just going to be too much fun. I have a ways. Matt's got a few. He's got a few years. One of the advantages of being old. Well, as they say, Kent, getting old is not for sissies. Thanks, Matt. He was, and he golfed into his 80s. That would have been just absolutely outstanding. With the anniversary of Normandy invasion coming, I am sure we will read and learn a lot more about that pivotal day and subsequent battle. There you go. Here we go. Thumbs up. Hey, thank you. Thank you, sir. My dog Rex says the same thing. There's Travis. All righty. What is the secret to getting a stuck tip weight out of the hosel after you take the shaft out? Well, there's a couple. You can do a couple of things. So, Travis, what you can do is you heat up the hosel like you're taking it out. Heat it up again, right? Because what's underneath is what's holding it. It's the glue that's you've pancaked with that with the tip weight. Okay, it's stuck to the bottom. So you want to heat it up in that bottom area. Then throw some heat into the hosel itself. Now you can do one of two things. If you have a really small screwdriver or an awl, an AWL, which is a pointy little like sticker thing to marks things, you put it in there and you roll it around. And when you're rolling it around, it loosens it up out of there. Then if it loosens up there, then you tap the hosel and sometimes it comes out. If it's being a little bit more stubborn, what you can do is heat it again and then get you a small drill bit, something in the 1/8 category maybe, and drill right into the center of that thing. And then once you grab it, once you drill into it, eventually it's going to create heat on its own and it's going to break it loose, and you just pull it out with the drill bit. Then what you do is you grab it with a pair of pliers, reverse it, and out it comes, and there you go. One of those two always works. All righty. There's Jarhead. How you doing, buddy? Matt, my go-to is Dark 30. Get there just before the sun rises, tee it up. That's me too, bud. If I can get there, if they'll let me, I'm there. I'm doing that because there's nobody in front of you. If it's just me or me and my dad or whatever, we get 18s 2 hours and 45 minutes tops, and then I'm going home and it's still got plenty of morning left. All righty. What we got here? Robin talking back. Oh, here we go. Algernon Busby from Bermuda. Well, hey, bud. Thank you very much. There's a new one. We put Bermuda on the map. All right. Well, thanks for joining, man. Got any questions? Throw them out. NP says howdy. Jim and Robin. Hi, Jim and Robin from Charlie. How do I get one of them demo clubs? There we go. I forgot to. That was what the whole thing was about, demo clubs. If Mrs. McGoll, if you would come and go pull in the demo clubs, and we'll show you which ones they are, and then you guys can make a selection. She's running on a bit of a time delay from us. I've never seen such a thing, but it's she's a grand total of about 8 foot away from me outside, and there's always this delay. She heard me, so she's going in there. She'll bring them in here in just a second, and I'll show them to you. All righty. Jarhead, Four Roses is his favorite, and the single barrel is the best one. Well, I got 2 different barrels, so we're going to figure out what it's all about. And as it turns out, this weekend, Mrs. McGough has allowed us to go to the. We're going back to the trail again, but this time, as part and parcel or payment, we're going to go see what's called the Kentucky Castle. And the Kentucky Castle is only about 15 minutes from Four Roses, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It is a castle in the middle of Kentucky. It's got the wall all the way around it and the whole 9 yards. So we're going to take a tour through it. We're going to see what it's all about and then move on. So it sounds like fun. Dave Brozowski. Hello, Jim and Robin, fellow McGolf nuts. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. Charlie, you have a bottle of Four Roses that I haven't opened yet, so don't have an opinion. Well, I opened one, and we took it over so my dad could try it. And we looked at what the notes were on it, and it said spicy and cinnamony. And that's exactly what it was, spicy and cinnamony. Whoa, look at all this. We got it going on. Just hand me one. So we're gonna. All right. So here we go. The OEM demos are Srixons. All right. We got a note from Srixon saying, "Don't sell anymore because they don't have any more." I guess that's the way it's going. So the very first thing we got a lefty ZX7, a lefty ZX7, and that says 9.5, but they got they go a gazillion different lofts, and it has in it a hazardous black, or hazardous black with silver, and it is a 6.0. So this is a stiff. So this is a lefty 7 or a ZX7. This is a nice club. I've always liked this one over the 5 because I always thought the two weights, because you got one that's here and then you got one that's here, to help with the MOI. Okay. Look at this thing. Is this moving on me again? There we go. It did move on me. All righty. So let's do another one. Let's do the other lefty and then we'll go into the righty stuff. Yep. All righty. The other one is the ZX5. All right. I've had just about enough of this. I don't know how to make it stop. There, we'll try that. All right, ZX5, and this is a 10.5, a 10.5, and it also has the lofts that changes. It goes in very little increments, goes flat and standard. That's very cool. And this one has a hazardous red RDX. This is a nice shaft. It's a very stout shaft, and it is also a 6.0. So if you're a lefty out there and you're swinging pretty decent, don't let the 6.0 and you're looking for an X or something, or you're an aggressive release, this one will work. Okay, the 5 is supposedly the most forgiving because it has this weight all the way in the back, and okay, that's what it is. All right, and then we have the righty stuff. We have the righty ZX5, and it is a 9.5 low spin, a low spin shaft or low spin head. And what does that mean? See that weight right there? That's it right there. A low spin head. It's kind of nice. And it has a hazardous shaft, the black in it, and it is a 6.0 as well. So another stiff shaft. Okay. And then we have the ZX5. All right, the ZX5, and it is a 10.5. This is right-handed, and it has the hazardous red in it too. And it is a 60 gram, and this one is a 5.5. The regular flex, at least that's what they say. If you're anywhere near the border of the stiff range, that would work. All right. Now, not to be outdone, we go into the smaller woods, i.e. the hybrids. Now, these things work, all right? They're pretty accurate. They didn't win any distance contests, but man, they kept everything in play. This is the ZX Mark II. It's a 4. They're all 4s. They're 22 degrees, bonded. They're not adjustable. They're bonded. And this one has the hazardous red RDX in it as well, 70 gram and 5.5. This shaft works in a hybrid. It's a nice little shaft, surprisingly so. I got them in the Wilson and I got them in the Srixon, and in the Wilson, they worked really good. All righty. We have a righty ZX, and it is a 422 bonded, red, hazardous, and it is a regular in 70 gram as well, 5.5 in 5. Wish this thing would stop. 5.5 in its flex. Again, if you're really close to that, for me, I'm on the border. I'm right on that border between stiff and regular, and that works wonderfully. All right, last one. Another righty, and it is still another 4, and it is another red. However, an RDX smoke, except for this is the 6.0. Oh, and 80 grams. So look at Mr. McGolf being all over it. Alrighty, so we got this. We got 2 righties. Look at that stuff. We got 2 righties. One's a regular, or one's a stiff, as the case may be. Don't worry about that. They play very, very well. RDX reds. Okay. The other one is, let's see if I can make this go away. All right. So the other one is, I got a lefty version of it, and it is in that regular 70. And then we have a lefty version and a righty version of the ZX5 and the ZX7, both standard length, standard grips with the Golf Pride Tour velvets on them, the 360s. They are adjustable drivers. They work very, very well. All right. So if you're interested, it is mcgolfshop@roadrunner.com. mcgolfshop@roadrunner.com, and Mrs. McGolf will make you a deal. All right, these are demo priced to go. You pay the price and the shipping, and it is yours. Okay. And let's get here. There's Krister. He's from a warm Sweden now. So that must mean you're outside. That's good to hear. All righty, 81 in sunny Michigan here. And Dave, it made it into the 80s here as well. And tomorrow it's supposed to rain like pouring water out of a boot. The Angel's Envy got better as it stayed open. The first couple weren't very friendly. That one's really good there. All righty. Michael Moody, hello, sir. Jim, I just got some Mitsubishi Chemical shafts blue. Are those good shafts for my 3 and 4 hybrids? Well, Taylor, it would depend on what blue ones they are. Let's see what's following me, and it is. So they have a bunch of blue style shafts. They have a blue. It's a Kylie. They got a blue that's a blue board. They got a blue that's in there. So, however, just from the fact that it's Mitsubishi makes a very mean shaft. It is very, very good. So if you can swing through it, and the blue has always been kind of a symbol of their right down the middle of the road stuff, where the red or the white was even more difficult to bring around. So if you've got it, you're doing okay. Steve Bird from England, how are you, sir? Can you suggest a good ball for a senior golfer? I've been using the Wilson Duo's soft, great ball, but I'm finding it a little too soft. Well, it is the softest ball in golf, they say. Another one to use. Well, let's see. There's a couple out there that you might want to check out. Number one would probably be Callaway's Super Soft. Now, it is super and it is soft. It's just not as soft as the Wilson Duo. That would get you out there. Pardon me. And I also would try Srixon Soft Feel. I'd give those two a ride and see what happens. And then we're talking here. Jarhead saying hello back. Charlie saying hi to Robin. What we got here? Pete Evans, loving the weekly videos. Well, thank you, sir. If you got questions, throw it out. Deuce K, hello, McGolf Nation. What is the acceptable overall weight range of irons? How close to swing weight should be from the driver of the wedges? Well, from the driver, nowhere close, right? So as it works out, Deuce, is that from lightest to heaviest, as far as swing weights would go, the driver's the lightest, 3-wood is next, hybrids, irons, wedges. All right, and they go that way. In today's lofts, or today's lengths and weights, the irons used to be D4, D2 to D0 is more common. Even in Mizuno, which makes a great iron, if you leave the standard weight shaft, you will see swing weights that are comparable to C8 or C9. All right, and just to go to show you that nobody's complaining about it is they stopped putting the swing weight on their specs on their website. And nobody's been noticing. Why? Because in reality, it's more about total weight than it is swing weight. Okay. And then in the wedges around D3, D4, sometimes they're actually the same. And when you go up, like a D0-ish for the hybrid, and D1, D0, and then D0 to D2 on the other one. Or even You can go even a little bit lower, but D0 is probably closer. So they're all within, it's funny, they're all within maybe 2 to 4 swing weight points, of which most golfers would not be able to understand, but they go, oh, this club is light. Well, that's because you got a 60-gram shaft and a 200-gram head as compared to a 255 to 260-gram head and a 95 to a 120-gram shaft, and it's just total weight. It's like swinging the axe. All right. What driver head would be best suited for a counterbalance build? Well, it depends on what, Pete. It really depends on what you're doing with the club. If you bought a counterbalance just so that you could make it longer, doesn't really matter. If you're making it so that is correct, your correct length and stuff like that. Oh, I'm sure there's a few out there. So the whole idea of getting a counterbalanced shaft is for the counterbalance to do its thing, right? And so that means it's putting a little bit more, and all it is, the difference is the balance point means it's moved this way. And we're not talking a tremendous amount. So if we look at this guy, and here's the head, and there's the balance point, almost right there, about the balance point, right? Yeah, there we go. And if we went counterbalanced, that means that it would probably move about this much, right? And what that means is the balance point is moved back such that it's a little bit more heavy in the hands and a little bit lighter in the head. Same weight, just different feel. If you were looking for a club to give you a lighter feel with a counterbalancing, then all you do is put the shaft in a golf club and you're good to go. If you were looking to have we'll call it a heavier swing weight, then you would tip the normal response would be to make the club longer. All right. Now, if you were a slower swinger and you were trying to make that happen, that would probably be a way to go. And you found the middle of the club face. Now, for normal golfing, normal swing speed, average golfers, that kind of thing, making the club long makes it really, really hard to find the middle of the face. And so doing all that's not necessarily what you want to do. If you're an aggressive golfer, I liked it in the back of the hand for aggressive golfers. That's because that way you could track the club with your hands, not with just finding the head. That's what I did with it. I'm trying to think. If you wanted, what you're looking at, Pete, is I would look at, for instance, shameless plug, but if you were able to get something like this, and that right there, that is interchangeable. So you could go, I don't know if it tells you what it is on the top, but you can get a weight kit. And then what you could do is use it as standard and then throw all these different weights into it until you found that feel that you like. So I guess the answer here is a club that has an adjustable weighting in it. All righty, Lombard's looking to be pretty good today. Michael, I've been playing Hot Metal Pros for about 3 months now and been hitting my irons thin. Is it possible that the cause is the bounce on them because I played forged most of my golf years? Well, Hot Metal Pros, hold on. It just so happens that when you're talking to a guy who can build Mizuno, I can answer these questions for you. All right, so I don't think necessarily it's the fact that one's forged and one's not, although you're on the right track. So there is the Mizuno Pro, right? This is a very, very nice club. I like this one. It has very little offset, a little stronger loft, very forgiving, a little bit of weight hip in here so you don't overcook it, the whole 9 yards. This, on the other hand, is the JPX Forged. If you're used to playing the Forged model, there it is. Now, if you look, they are very similar, but not, you can tell the difference, right? The shape is very good. The framework is very similar. It's what's going on in here is what's different. Now, the other big deal is this. The thing's so shiny. There we go. If you look, so to get the idea, this thing has got a wide sole. Okay, it's got a wide sole. Now, if we go in comparison, we go down even one more. This is the JPX Tour. All right, it's the Tour. And if you look at this one again, there you go. Even less cavity and even thinner here. And this one is as the designer said once, that the Tour is a JPX club or as a Mizuno Pro club and JPX clothing, and they're not wrong. So anyway, Michael, what it could be is that, and I found this to be true with me, is that the sole is not necessarily the bounce per se, but the sole width. All right, the sole width is that you're coming into the ball, let's just say just a tick early, and that sole's engaging and bouncing you out and you're hitting it thin. That's probably why. Make it really detailed, Jim. I know. I play after we cut the grass on the course, usually tee time is around 11. That's a good one. My buddy Bob cuts the grass at the local course that's a little bit further north. And is this going to follow me? Hey, look, I fixed it. So now if I'm going to do that, let's do this. There we go. Hey, that's better. Okay, so Jiminy Christmas. You'd think I'd have this thing figured out by now. I've only done it a few times. Okay, Lynn Wise from Philadelphia. How you doing? My buddy Bob plays. He does it, and he gets up super early. There's been times I've got up there, be playing at 7:30, and by the time I get 9 done, he's done totally, and we go play. I have to apologize for that. All right. Charlie, how did you talk Debbie into the new clubs? It cuts into her shoe collection. Good one. Good one. Steven, hello from Tennessee. Shot an 81, but not able to get back out Saturday or Sunday. Had a nice lady decide to cross 3 lanes of traffic and wreck into my Challenger. Oh, wow. Well, I don't know what to say to that. That's not very good. And hopefully you're okay. And maybe we can get that Challenger fixed. Okay. Hey, there's Cuz. What do you say, kiddo? Even Florida even had lights. All right. What do you say? That's my cousin. Down in Florida. One of the nicest people you're ever going to want to meet. All right. Steve Bird talking to Robin. Robin talking back, and back. Hi, everyone. That's Taylor is saying. Glenn Wise. So, when are you building those Dynaforce irons? Well, I guess I can tell you guys first, since you guys are here and we'll call you the McGolf faithful. This is exactly what those are. I like them. The 2 yards really wasn't the key, the seller, although I'll take 2 yards, but it wasn't the end all cure all for me. What it was is when you looked a little bit closer, that I had more better shots clustered than on the Mizuno, and that was with it being at the regular lie angle. So when I get them, I'm going to bend them up a degree, and hopefully that will help me out and make a better shot. And that makes a better shot. That 2 yards might turn into 3 yards or even 4 yards, which now, when you're talking about an iron, that's pretty significant. And we're going to do that. To the point, I enjoyed them so much, I stopped carrying a 5 in my other set, and I ordered a 5 for this set. And I got to talk to Harry Nordwell, and if you guys remember, he used to be on my golf spy. He's now what they call the tour production manager. He's basically the go-between of R&D and marketing to get certain looks and certain feels and certain sounds out of the equipment going forward. I think that's a pretty good move for them. I've stolen them off Darbs, not not bought them. Oh yeah, right. Say what? You don't carry TaylorMade? Sorry, I do not, Dave. Although I've had, I've been approached by way back when I got approached by the VP of R&D of TaylorMade to carry just their heads only, and pretty good. It's a pretty good deal, except for I said, yeah, send them my way and see what happens. Well, nobody's come my way, so I'm not going to go chasing them down. If they want to sell more clubs, they need to come find me. That's where I'm at with this. These other guys that we've got, they've made the time to come visit, and so that's it. That's the same thing with Titleist. That guy doesn't get past Cincinnati and Cleveland and the Cobras. That guy won't come south of Columbus. So, and I could kill it, and I'm sure I could. And then the one I really, really wanted to show up was Ping, and the guy that's Ping is the best guy ever. A super nice guy, and it's not him. It's actually Ping that's holding him back. And the reason why they're holding him back is I've got to the point now as well that I want him like this. All right, I don't want a full club. I want to be able to put my thumbprint on it, and I want to be able to do it the way that I think it should be done. Which, and funny part is very similar to the way these guys want it done. And the guys that tout themselves to being an army of engineers, i.e., Ping, can't figure out how to associate there is normally, in backs of Pings, there's a serial number, and they don't know how to associate that with who I would sell it to. I'm like, you got an email address, right? Yeah. Well, I'll just send you an email. Well, and they just like, it was just an easy fix. And they, no, that's not how it works. I'm like, okay. All right, Zachary Parker, what do you say, man? Is there a way to strengthen lofts and irons while retaining spin? I'm considering strengthening the lofts in order to get some more distance. I'm playing the 245s. Ooh, well, the 245s are kind of strong already, Zach. But if you okay, there's two things that cause there's three things that cause the spin. Number one is your angle of attack. Number two is the face coarseness, not the grooves. And then the other one is the loft of the club. So if your angle of attack is, we'll say normal, let's say 0 or just slightly negative, going a degree or two more strong really won't have any effect. All right. If you're a guy that's a sweeper and you're flicking it and you're getting all kinds of height, actually strengthening the club might get you into that attack angle and you should be okay. It's not going to be like this. You're not going to like all of a sudden start running them across the green. However, I would warn you that if you're going to do this, the max 2 degrees max. Don't try and make a whole nother club out of it. Just go about 2 degrees tops, and that's it. And you'll just see a little more distance without any real change in the rest of it. Will there be a change? Obviously, yes. But any noticeable change in the way that you're playing? Probably not. Yeah, good one. Glenn saying hi to Robin. Kent saying Charlie put up a special short for this evening. Have to check it out. There's Steve. Krister, I know it's warm. How are those new clubs working out? That's a good question. Dunes Golf and Beach Club. Position myself on the 17th green. There we go. Dunes Club. I played that one. Or the Dune. Was it Dune Golf and Beach Club? Is that, Peter, is that the one that's got the alligator as the logo on their for their thing? I think Bob and I played that one. It's actually very nice. And it can eat your lunch if you're not watching. They can make the greens, they can make everything very, very fast. And just keeps rolling if you go in the wrong spot. Dunes Golf and Beach had over 41,000 in attendance. Well, hey, there you go. That's quite a few, actually, when you're talking about a brand new golf course, Myrtle Beach, because when I'm going down to Myrtle Beach, I'm not really going there to see a golf tournament. I'm going there to golf. So if you got 41,000 folks, that's pretty good. Tight Yorkshiremen, what do you expect? Very good. My clubs are working fine except for the 7-wood. A hook machine. Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I was watching one of your swings, Krister, and I could see that being your predominant miss still. And the way that you're almost a little topish, and with the fact that the 7-wood tends to sit a little bit more, it would be perceived as closed. But what it is that the shaft lean, if this is a 4 hybrid, your 7-iron, your shaft lean is very much like this. And that's what's happening. It gives that perception. But, yep, hopefully we get it figured out. Here we go. Fred Quartz, Angel's Envy is the best value. Well, there we go. It's getting better there, Fred. I'm telling you what, I can start tasting it says finished in port wine. We went down there. Mrs. McGolf went to Angel's Envy, and we did one of those where you make your own bottle. And it was fun. It was very interesting. We were still in our learning phase. We had no idea what we were doing, basically. And as the story goes, and she gets mad at me when I tell it, but anyway. So we made our bottles. We were side by side. And what they do is you have, there's 2 things you got to do. You pull down on you pull down or you push up on the lever and it fills up this column, and then you pull down on it and it fills up the bottle, and you leave it, and then you let it go. And then you pull it out from underneath there and you slap the cork on it. And then you wipe it off and you set it down. Well, nobody was paying attention to her, and she got ready to go get some more. She's going to go get some more. She's going to fill that thing to the top. I'm like, oh, no, 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 don't touch it. Don't touch it. She said, oh, okay. So we got past that one. That was fine. We started putting the labels on it. And the labeling in this thing is pretty cool. And what you have to do is you have to fill out a log of what barrel it came out of, everything that you did, the proofing on it, and the whole 9 yards. And you got to put this little sticker on it. And so you got to say your number 25, number 26, number 27, this proof, this barrel, this time, this date, and you put it on the sticker. So we got the Angel's Envy on the front, the stuff on the back, and then there was another label on the back. Plus, then you put the tamper-proof seal on the top. And so I went through mine, and I was helping out Robin, and she started talking about 56 or something along that lines, and she was number like 57. And somewhere along their lines, we got 56, and we were talking about age or something like that. And so she just scribbled down 56. Well, there was 2 56s in the group. And she says, who'd be this other 56? And I went, and so now we have a mistake bottle and of the same stuff. And we're keeping that one with the lid on it. So who's going to have a mistake bottle of Angel's Envy? So it's kind of fun. It's a neat little story. There you go. So I was thinking, Charlie. Randy D, there's a new face. What is the beverage of choice? Well, as you were talking there, Randy, Angel's Envy in the port finish, and it was one that Mrs. McGolf and I actually we poured ourselves. So we have nobody to blame but us. Not only we're going to Four Roses next week, we're going to Heaven Hill, and we're also going to James E. Pepper. So we're going to try out a few extra ones. That sounds fun. Yes. Contesting, yeah, in Versailles. Yeah, Versailles, whatever you want to call it. But yep, that's the place we're going. That area down there is just very, very nice. Well, he likes cognac, but that stuff that I got him is pretty strong. He's gotten kind of, how shall I say, weenie-like in his old age. And 80 proof, 90 proof was about as max as we want to go with him. But he got a chance to drink that Four Roses that I showed you earlier, and the Four Roses was about 104. And it was funny. I only gave him a little bit in a glass, just a little bitty in a little bitty glass. because I knew you'd be like, whoa, that's too much. And he drinks it, and his eyes got real big and almost started watering from the alcohol content that was in it, or the alcohol that wafts off of it. But we all survived. It was pretty good. Isn't the castle outside Lexington? I grew up in Louisville, but can't remember. Maybe Mrs. McGolf can throw in on this one because this is her trip. She knows where it's at. Versailles, Lexington is, again, my reference point is Four Roses, about 15 minutes to the east. And I believe it's not necessarily Lexington. It's probably south and east of there. Judd wants the Lefty ZX7, so now it's on you and Mrs. McGolf. Wrong way around, Jim. Well, there's a couple in there that are righties. Timmer G from BC. All right. Love your stuff. Would love Lefty Demo Club all the way in White Rock, BC, 10 minutes from Washington State border. Oh, okay. I know where that's at. So, Timmer, there was a 10 minutes from Washington State border. All right. Way back in the day, I'll tell one more story and we'll keep going. Way back in the day when I was in the Navy, we stayed in Washington State. And one of my hobbies at the time was radio-controlled cars. And I had just left Virginia, of which I was actually the state champion for four-wheel drive off-road. And we went to and they were more circle track than anything else. But we went to Washington State. You want to talk about some guys serious about off-roading? Wow. And so we got a call from the local Canadian car club down into the car club that was down there. I wasn't part of it, but I knew the guys. They called me and said, "Hey, let's go up there and let's go race them." And I said, "All right." So we went up there, just crossed over the border, and we played. And there was a really, really nice track there, and we got 1 day in. It was a 2-day race. We got 1 day in, and the next day it came down like gangbusters, like typical Washington weather would. And so we didn't finish off the day. But it was good, clean fun. Man, oh man, was it a good race. Good drivers. A whole bunch of them good drivers. And it was really neat. All righty, part of Pixel. Interested in the ZX5. How do we buy? Oh, I got Mrs. McGolf on there. Are they both left? No, I got one of each, man. Let's see. Let's see if I can pull this off. Get all the hybrids out of the way. All righty, what do we got here? I got the right-handed 5, and that is a 10.5 with the RDX red, and it is the 60 gram 5.5. And by the way, these RDXs, these are the real deals. They're not aftermarket. They're not proprietary. They're not any of that. These are the real deals. And this is here's another 5, and you're looking, there's another 5, right-handed. And this is the low spin 5. Low spin 5, and it's got the hazardous shaft, the 6.0 and 60. This is a little bit more beefy, so if you're a little more aggressive. And then they've got a lefty 5 right here. The lefty 5 in 10.5 and RDX. So there you go. Now let me tell you about these things that they don't have a lot of hits on them. And if I was to send them to you, you would probably not know that they were even used. That's how good a shape these are. Just so you know. All righty. There they go. Put them right there. Okay. He left. This is up to Mrs. McGolf, so we'll see. Man, look at this. We're rolling now. How do we get one? Just like we talked. When you decide to get one, bud, we'll put it in a box. We'll ship it right out to you. Would be interested in me to say that for the lefty. That's all right. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, as Charlie would have us say. Oh, here's a new one. Aaron Gabriel Vasquez, or Vasquez, as the case may be. That low spin would be I spin the way ball too spinny. And you're right, dude. I'm right there with you. I probably ought to be hitting that damn thing myself. But yeah, that was actually a good design. Now the plus to this is when we get these notifications, they tell us to do it. It's probably a month or two delay. I would imagine that um, Srixon is probably going to come to market early. This is just me guessing. I don't have any information. I'm not talked to the rep or any of that stuff. And and if they're taking them out now, that must mean that they have a plan to come to market early. And because let's face it, Srixon is not a powerhouse when it comes to golf equipment. They're very nice, to be sure. However, they're not a powerhouse. The marketing dollars are not the same as a TaylorMade or a Ping or a Titleist or a Callaway, right? And so if they can get out there and get noticed first and people really enjoy it, who's to say? Michael's looking at the lefty stuff. Mrs. McGolf is going to be busy now. Give them a good deal if they're McGolfers out here, Mrs. McGolf. Chad Fett, I could use that one or the 10.5. There we go. I'd love to try the Zevon with the hazardous black. You know what? I hit these, did a review with them. I don't think I did a review. My driver swing was not good enough to be able to review. But the 7 is just a hair smaller, is what I think. And they both have very, very good, how should I say it? They have a good look at a dress. They have that flat black, right? They have that flat black. And with just enough of the lines to outline the club in the back. And then they have the face. This is just a typical face. I mean, you can see, yeah, it's been hit once or twice, but nothing gross. And it's got the rebound frame. Now, the rebound frame is a frame within a frame. So what they're saying is they got the face, and then there's within the head, there's another supporting actor behind it. Nice ZX5. How does it hit? Charlie, you know what? I think they hit fine. The real problem is that I think they put in these shafts for the guy that was a very aggressive late releaser, i.e., who's their number one guy? The guy from it's not China, good guy, big guy, but man, is that guy aggressive? And it's set up for him, and he hits the ball a ton. Now, do we hit like that? No. I should buy the ZX7 for my son with a stiff shaft. Yeah, to go with all those other ones that you got him. Randy D is interested in the lefty. We got some lefties in here. Yeah, we ship to Canada. Charlie Bartholomew, the 7 wood is a 21 degrees setting at 3/4 degree lower loft and a little more flat. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure of that, buddy. Peter, you gave your irons. I guess that would help complete the set. There you go, and no doubt. Can you set it any flatter and give it a try? I'm not sure you know what? I'm still thinking on that one, Charlie. I'm just trying to figure out if maybe sitting back away from it might be the way to go. I'm just not sure. Sonny V, what do you say, man? It's been a while. Hopefully you should be having the good weather by now. Hopefully you're getting out there, hitting it. And we got to give a salute to Emmanuel as he's talking with our paying respects to a veteran that served in the Normandy invasion. So good for that. Arnie Sanchez, how much? Oh, hoorah. Here we go, Marine. Hoorah. And we got another guy named Jarhead right after it. I tell you what, Jarhead, that I'm telling you, that 5.5, I think that's a real deal. I really do. Chris Greenslade, what do you say from Bristol in the west of England? Another one. Thank you. I'm putting on Wind Dry Tech grips on my woods and irons. You have any tips? So, Chris, if you are putting them on in old school fashion, i.e. with grip solvent, do not be afraid to fill it up about 1/2 to 3/4 in the grip and shake it around and let that tape get covered in the solvent Put your thumb over it, slide it on. There's one, if you go in my library and talk, there is, I'm sure several, but there's probably two that talk to grip installation per se. Okay. And that should be able to help you out. Uh, wear one of these. Wear one of these so that when it squirts out that you don't get it all over. Because if you get it on its clothes, you want to go and run to the nearest sink and wash it out. Because if you do not and you have color, what it will do is it will stain that area that it's squirted on, and it will be just a darker squirt, and it will never go away for some reason. But if you wash it away early, then it does go away. Jim Reynolds, it's been a good while. Good to be back. Thank you, sir. I like the logo. Jim Duncan, what's the difference between the RDX red and the RDX black? I have a black Durango and love it. The black or red would be a better fit. My favorite was. So the red, in my opinion, is just a little bit more kick. All right, just a little bit more kick. The RDX black is very, very stiff. It means you have this a very late release or a very, we'll call it aggressive swing tempo or quick tempo, as the case may be. The red is supposedly less than that, but the RDX, the thing with RDX is the smoke RDX. That RDX stands for a type of weave right here. And look at that. I still got all these doggone things on it. That's how much I've not used them. And the RDX is a very stiff weave. Okay. And to the point that they made they made the Hulk versions. They have these like neon green shafts, and you literally have to be a gorilla to bring them around. The red is the softest of the clan. I had no doubt. Flat as it can be. Any D9 Dynapowers or Dynapowers available? Not yet. So on those, Jim, all I have is heads, and they've been reamed out, so they wouldn't be any good for you anyway. And the D9s are done. The Dynapowers are still here. They're still available, and they still hit pretty good. The Dynaforged is the latest one, and those are actually pretty nice. I'm waiting for Charlie to comment on which one he likes. Would would a stiffer shaft help? It might be, or maybe even maybe just heavier. But he went through that fitting, so I would suggest going back. Oh, now we're talking. Yep, that's a pretty brutal shaft. That stiffer shaft always helps. Ha ha ha. Holy cow. Yep. Kent, sounds like you're wishful thinking again. Yep. All righty. Charles, brother, I have the D7 in all my woods, 9 degree, 13 in the 7. It's probably just, if you're coming down on it, Krister, maybe just setting it back or setting it forward in the stance, maybe. Is that about the way to do it? And holding on to it. Double D, Jim, I've had a number of shafts that don't fit snug into the hosel. Besides using shims, is there anything else I could use so the shaft doesn't move around so much while it's curing? Well, you could, Double D. Another common use is fishing line. You can use fishing line, and it's the very smallest fishing line, the .1000 fishing line, and you can put it in the back. That's one way of doing it. Other than that, shims are my favorite, and I am not a fan, and I do not, and will never say just use more centering beads. Negative, Ghost Rider. The pattern is full. Now, if it's just a slight wiggle and you're not using centering beads, I would suggest using centering beads anyway. And if there's still use, then use the shim. I'm a senior using Tour Response TaylorMade and loving them. Very cool. Like that. I don't know if the heavier would do it. It might. I'm sure you'll get it figured out. Well, that's a good question. What is the most common driver total weight? Oh, I'd have to think about that one for a moment. So you got about a 200 plus about a 60, 260, grips another 50, about 310, glue, ferrule, tape. So somewhere around 320 to 340. I don't always use it from the rough, only from the fairway. Can be my swing more than the shaft. I like to hit down on my woods. There's the closure of the face right there. And with the negative, yeah. So like I was saying before, it has that, the 7-wood has a very large offset. Or not offset, but has a very forward press in it. And that's probably what's getting him. There's D. There's D. What do you say, Darla? Our good buddies from Indiana, and then Bill's with her. Darla and I went to school together. Well, so did Robin and I, but Darla and I went to school together. Part of pixel. Do you frequency check every build or only parallel shafts? Also, how does speed matching compare to swing weighting? Sorry for the 2 questions. Thanks for the time. No problem. So I do frequency check. Unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do about it. It's exactly what you think. It's a check. It's not a fix. Now in parallel shafts, I can tweak it in a little bit better. Now I will say this, and I've been paying attention to it a little bit more because of questions like that. And I've been using the pond, and I'm not missing more than a quarter of a flex. That's pretty good. In fact, that's really good. And so, yeah, so those guys, it depends on what you're at. Now, how does speed matching compare to swing weighting? I'm not sure what speed matching is part of Pixel. Um, I'm just not sure. So, compared to swing weighting, what does that mean? So, speed matching is, if I had to guess, you're trying to match things to your swing speed. And if you get things to your swing speed, I just don't understand. Uh, swing speed is only part of it, right? There's the way swing speed um, plus the way that you try to deliver the club to the ball. And those all come together because you could be in the regular flex range, but have this very, very aggressive swing tempo. And I might have to put you into a stiff flex in order to do that. And that would be close to speed matching. Now, there's also called MOI matching, and that is the MOI's moment of inertia. And that's the way it's kind of a digital version of swing weight, is the easiest way to describe it. But that's not what that is. And then swing weighting. So just so you know, do I like swing weighting? It's something that we do. Do I believe it's necessary? No, I don't. I think total weight is far, far, far more important. Having the right weight of the shaft will override the right swing weight of the shaft all day long. And just to case in point, your driver shaft 60, your irons are 95 to 120, and they're the same swing weight. But yet the irons are super duper heavy versus the driver being light. So that's just the way so it's just a way of tricking it. Now, we use it as a way of making sure that we've done a very good build to make sure that we've done consistency in order to give it to you. But to say that you want to swing to a particular swing weight, I think what it is that it's kind of a trick to saying this is the type of weight that we want. Now it's more of a club balance. I really don't want to say it's not. You don't have to. You can ignore it. However, it's more of the balance of the club, right? I got guys that could be very, very aggressive, and I put them in a C9 or even a D0, and they're like, "Man, this is the greatest thing ever." And it's because I put in a heavier shaft, and it makes the club feel lighter on the head, but all that weight sits right here, and they just smoke it. And the opposite could be true. So it just depends on the person. Did you see Darla was in here?
I did.
Did you say hi?
Read down. Of course I said hi.
Okay. Duske, should total weights be close be close per grouping, i.e. fairway woods, hybrids, wedges. Hope that makes sense. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. So Deuce, the irons should go up around between 5 and 7 grams. So it goes pitch and weight. Well, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pitch, and they go up in weight. Okay, total weight. The hybrids will be something lighter than, say, the 5, and the driver will be something less than that. Keep in mind, let's just add up the numbers: 200 to 195 to 205 driver head, 60-gram shaft, 50-gram grip. Add it together. Then you get to the fairway woods, about 215. Same thing. The shaft, it might be 10 grams heavier, and the grip is the same. A little bit more total weight. You get into the hybrids. Hybrids will be about a 2.25, maybe a 70, 80 gram, same grip. See where we're going with this? Then you get into the 5 iron. That's the lightest one, and it should be around, it'll be anywhere from 247 to 256, depending on who makes it. And then the 95 to 120 gram shaft, same grip. So what they are doing is, what you're seeing is the shorter lengths are being made up by that weight, so that you don't feel something that's out of whack. There we go. We start cutting at 5 in the morning. Woo wee, dude, that's early. You got lights on those? You got lights on those mowers? I test some hybrids, Titleist, and I will be testing 7 wood because the sole is flatter. Okay. Now, Krister, the fact that you can hit them both because you got a skill set, but with a more down, I would literally try a much lower lofted hybrid. Anyway, tighter dispersion always wins, no doubt. I'm late joining the show. What demos are available? We'll have to talk with Miss McGolf. She came in here and took them all away from me, so I have no idea. We get into the other ones. I think I'll have Mizuno when they decide to go out. This should be their year for that. We'll have another one of these with Mizuno. All righty. I see pros like Phil and Bryson are tossing out the 3-wood for a mini driver. Do you think the larger CC 3-wood is going to take hold? So what really happened here is, this is what they call, in the day, they called it a thriver, right? It was a very small-headed 3-wood, or it's a very large-headed 3-wood or a small-headed driver. With Sean, actually, I'm going to give him credit. He's the one that kind of started it. He had the 9, what was it? It was right off the 919. It was just before that. Anyway, it was a driver shaft, or it was a 3-wood that was probably about this thick. It was a very tall one, had a cup face on it. I can't tell you how many of those I made. They were hitting that further, and I had it set at 3-wood, and they would take that and just absolutely destroy it. Absolutely destroy it. And you could hit it off the deck because it was small enough to do that. And you didn't have to tee it up really, really high. You could tee it low and hit it out there just crazy good. It worked very, very well. And I'm not sure what changed. I think the driver head changed to bring that back. So I personally think that, if you like, a lot of guys are doing very, very well with this, that might make the 3-wood come back into vogue if it's that style. And you might see that might be the style going forward, right? I wouldn't be surprised, because, the big 4 or 5 are always looking at each other, and TaylorMade, Callaway are always fighting each other. And if they're having any success with that burner, I would bet real money that there's a follow-up in Callaway coming. If you remember the Frankenstein 3-wood that they had, that everybody had to have, that thing was working well until it just was unpopular. Dave, wow, that's horrible. They are losing out big time. I definitely don't blame you not for chasing. Yeah, I gave up. I mean, I actually sent them emails back in the day saying, this is me, this is what I do. And, send your rep, and decided not to. A little late getting on. Hello, Phil K. Happy Monday. Good to you. Mr. Cam, how are you, sir? Double D, Jim Reynolds, the Robin's talking to everybody. Andrew K, what do you say, man? It's been a bit. Hope all is well. Same to you. Have you ever put a driver shaft into a utility iron, or will I need to remove too much of the tip so mess it up? Yes, you will remove too much of the tip. A driver shaft and utility iron, that's too much. You might get a utility wood shaft or a iron shaft and put it in there, but not a driver shaft. Hey, Robin, what's the email address for the demo clubs? Oh, we're talking some demo stuff now. Do we get to taste while making up the bottles too? At least to have an idea what it tastes like? Yes. Yes, you do. And the funny part was, Charlie, is that when I walked in there, the Angels Envy had a $99 bottle, and they had a $200 bottle. And I'm new to this. I was new to this, and I'm like, I'm not spending $200 on a bottle of that. I have no idea what it tastes like. Well, we got in there and we tasted it, and in the beginning, everything tastes the same. It tastes alcohol-y and burny and the whole 9 yards. And it's not until you actually develop a bit of a palate that this stuff's anywhere near that. And this stuff was 150, and it was every bit of the $200 thing. Plus, we got the tour, we got the information, and we got to do it. It was the experience itself was very, very cool. Last one. Okay. I always like doing that. I like making the bottles. That for some reason I just hands-on-y kind of thing. My favorite to date still Jay Mattingly though. If you ever I recommend them highly. If you ever get a chance to go in there and do their tour experience is what they call it. And go down there and test. They got 5 or 6 barrels down there, and you can test them and tell them what you like, and they will mix something for you. And I'm here to tell you, it was for me that they hit a home run. Oh my gosh. To the point I'm always trying to figure out how to get back there. And I got Mr. McGolf going. Let's not. It's good. Eric Rangel, how you say? What did I miss? Where do you go to see what you got from El Paso? Go back a little bit, bud. It's Srixon stuff, ZX5, 7, and drivers left and right, and hybrids and left and right, and various shafts that are truly aftermarket. Yep. Oh, yes, Jim. PSNS. Yep, been there, done that. Love it. That, you know what, Charlie, that place, of all the places I've been, I think that's got to be one of my favorites. It did mist, and they had a place, what they call gray brain, because it was misting all the time. But uh, beautiful scenery. Got to go up into the mountains. It was really, really nice. And you went from the water. That state had 4 significantly different climates. You could have a on the coast climate, in the mountains climate, in the desert climate, and then in a almost rainforest like climate. And you could drive through them all. And it was very, very cool. Last bit of storytelling, we'll keep going. We were going to the coast once, and we were going north, and we were going towards the coast. And we drove through the town of none other than McCleary. And there was a bank, a pharmaceutical, and a hardware company that was it was doing the Bear Festival, and they are all named after my dad and his 2 brothers. I'm like, look at that. That was just super coincidental. We played the Grand Dunes. Yes, we played the Grand Dunes, but me and Bob, well, I'm sure we played the yacht, what they called the yacht club at the time. I don't know, Cam. We'll have to talk with Miss McGolf. We'll tell again, Miss McGolf. We'll see. Diamonds, I got my Dyna Power Forge graphite regular righty. Nicely done. Dyna Power Forged. I told the guys at Wilson that stop calling them Dyna Power Forged and call them Dyna Forged. Only because it was easier. Only because it was easier. Let's see if we got this here. See if I can do this with a pen, no less. Well, let's see. That might have been more than enough right there. But I tell you what, this is going to be a lot of fun. I've never done this before, to be honest with you. As far as selecting a club like that, I've always done it behind the scenes because, I never consider myself much of a golfer. But, here as of late, I've decided why not. I'm trying to get Mrs. McGolf interested in doing. I think it's doing both of this. Let's golf the Bourbon Trail. Huh? Let's golf the Bourbon Trail. I'm thinking that'd be cool. Go down there and do a Woodford. There's a Woodford Reserve and a Wild Turkey. I just had to look it up. Did some research. Woodford Reserve and Wild Turkey, and they both have golf clubs. They're not. I don't know if they're related to them anymore. Alrighty. So, tell me how cool that is. What do you think, Charlie? What do you think, Charlie? See if we get to lock. This is the gap wedge. All right. So I got work to do. All right. Like the ZX5, 10.5 to smoke regular. How does it hit? They hit fine. They're not, so just like anything else, just like the Wilsons, they're not world beaters, but they hit pretty good. I talked with Mr. McGolf. Yukon, man, it's been a while. Good deal. Glad you're back. M. Clark's interested. Robin will send you guys an email. Good deal. Yep. Eric Rangel, how much for the ZX driver hazardous black? We're getting down there. Matsuyama, that's the guy. You are absolutely right. Matsuyama. I like him. That dude's got such a pause at the top and just kills it. Absolutely kills it. Bill Deans, how you say, Robin, would you consider a trade? Very conditioned. No, we're not going to do trades, bud. Oh, what do we got here? Yes, Charlie, we did, but they already have got you to buy the bottle tour. Yep. Nick on par, what's your thought on the Project XIO shafts? They're not bad. They're not bad. They're not, again, they're not world beaters, but they're not bad. I would consider them from a Project X perspective. They're right down the middle. They're not bad, and they're not super good. I just give them right in the middle. Time you get done sampling, you're ready to buy, no doubt. Testing. Got to get with Cam, Robin. There we go. Nick on par. Anything about playing game improvement irons all the way down to single digit handicap? Anything bad about playing game improvement all the way down to single? No, actually, no. I've known plenty of guys that play that could just absolutely shake you down and playing what looks to be the most god awful players super game improvement clubs, and it's just because that's what they grew up on, and they hit it and they hit it well. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing saying out there that just because you're a better golfer that you have to have better golfer clubs. That is the biggest farce on the planet. So if you're out there and you're playing super game improvement clubs and you're down into single digits, so be it. What do you think got you there? Did you make any swing changes to get there? Probably not. And so you like that particular style of clubs. For instance, Ping I2s. Ping I2s are one of the best designs on the planet. It has got a truckload of offset. It's got bunches of bounce, and people absolutely slayed it with that. And then all of a sudden they start getting lower scores, and they would dump them and go get these other ones and go, why can't I hit these very well? There you go. Okay, understand. What would be a comparable set of the Dynapowers? Go. Well, I like the Dynapowers, dude. The Dynapowers are great. If you had to stay in that particular category, Srixon ZX4s, the Mizuno HM hot models, but not as much offset. And then probably Callaway's smoke, but the high launch smokes, not the regulars. If you're actually going out there, and I don't carry them, but I would think that the ping club, the ping iron that has they always have a player's iron and a game improvement iron. Their game improvement iron. 430 10K versus, hey, not bad. Not bad at all. I would think that, I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about the QI10, but the 430 is no joke either. Yeah, I think in this one, Charlie, that if you hit it with a hair dryer or even a hot air gun, that come off no problem. I see too many people swing a 7-iron around 84 mile an hour playing clubs like 223s. Yeah, makes no sense. If the iron's going 160 to play these. Uh, it just depends on where you're playing from, right? If you're dialed in at 160 and you can hit the 7-iron and you just know it's 160, who's to say, right? If you can nail it, right? If you can nail it, if you can nail it, it's all good. Uh, but if you're coming out of your shoes and swinging as hard as you possibly can, and that's the way it is, that's a problem. That's truly a problem. Now, if you're looking to hit it further, well, then yeah, that is a problem as well. You could strengthen the club, but you might get 165 and now. Is that enough? Because distance is your friend in a lot of cases when it comes to irons. But I've watched guys that they could play that 160 all day. It just depends on where you're at. But you're right. I mean, and the 223, don't kid yourself, and even the T100s, those aren't really that easy to hit either. There's my girl Darla. Yeah. Very good. We like it. I'm sure Bill's having a good one too. What's a good type of model and shaft for a slice in stiff and regular? Well, Cam, if you're slicing it, what I would do again, I think I've said this before, is choke down a little bit. It could be nothing more than you're delivering. Your swing path might be very, very good. It's just that the face is open and you're hitting it high and to the right. It's just all about getting the club closed. Now, being up in the upper north, you may not baseball not be might not be a thing, but when guys are playing baseball and you weren't making square contact or you weren't bringing it around, you got the signal, and that was to choke up to make the club shorter. And when you made the club shorter, you brought it around, you squared up, and all of a sudden you're good to go. Nick on par, what's the typical shaft specs or design characteristic you look for when limiting a slice? Well, I'm a little different in this one, Nick. What I look for if I'm trying to eliminate a slice or at least help, I look for a club that has a soft butt section and a stiffer tip section. And you always hear the stuff about you need to get the head to kick, and you see this motion. What I'm looking for is bringing the whole club around. I want this. I want this part of it, and a softer butt section is what helps in order to do that. Timmer from BC, just let you know a package just arrived from GolfWorks Canada. Your videos gave me confidence. Not a handy guy at all to do some club works. Well, you go, boy. Let's see what you got. Send some pictures next time. Send me some pictures. I'll put them on here, and we'll see what you did, and maybe we can do a little critique. It'll be a good critique. Don't worry, but it'll be critique. That could be a thing. Send in some pictures of your latest club work, and we'll ask and we'll talk about it back and forth. Would you be? What is that? There you go, Bill. That's going to have to talk with Robin. Okay. Brian Lovering. We've got some good names on here today. Boys and girls, men and women of all ages, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. Let's make this a very successful live stream. Good evening. Is there a modern day golf design equivalent to the graphite design AD Quadratech an 8? Wow, dude, an 80 gram X Flex? I don't know. I don't know anybody that makes an 80 gram shaft that's an X Flex. Well, actually, maybe I do. I'm thinking I got 75 is about as high as I can go. Acura has a TZ shaft, and the Tour AD Quadratech, it's a pretty nice shaft. It's pretty stout, and there's a TZ5 and a TZ6. There's actually another TZ, but that wouldn't fix it. I believe you're probably a little closer to the 5. You get the TZ5 Acura and the 7X. Now the 7 actually means closer to 75, where the 8 in the graphite design means closer to 80. So 5 grams I don't think is going to be a big deal. Another one that you might want to consider, although they don't make an 8 in that, is the XC. It's that black shaft right there. If you want a low shaft, a low spin or a low flight, the XC in the 7X would do it. That thing's a beastie. Bobby Burdett, what do you say, man? Got to try and go back and read the comments. Only want to look back so far. What's the real deal with demos? I'm a lefty looking for Srixon woods to match my ZX7 irons. You are in the right place for a lefty club. Miss McGolf will help you out. What's for dinner tonight? We didn't have, well, over the weekend we did some prime rib and we did a baked potato. That was our celebration. And I did remove the bays, all the bay separators except the 2 that's containing my my Rectex. And I think I like it like that. And once we get all the bays moved out, it'll be quite the thing. Bobby, wow, great idea. Okay. William Saunders, very nice. We got all kinds of new names today. Bobby, it says, will do. You must be talking with Robin. All righty. Scott Jackson, how far away from Oxford, Ohio? My daughter attends school there. I try to visit once or twice a year. Maybe I can swing over for a proper fitting. I have no idea where Oxford, Ohio is, dude. Let me hold on a second. I'll tell you here in a second. Oh, that's weather. Oxford, Ohio. Oh, Miami. 2 hours and 14 minutes from my house. There you go. 2 hours and 14 minutes. IA smoke irons look closer to players' distance irons, but more forgiving. The best calories in a long time. Yep, I like them. Kent says, don't forget the thumbs up. I'm only seeing single figures for all me. Look at that. Thank you, Kent. You are the man. Might be a crazy opinion, but I didn't think the MP225s were all that forgiving compared to the 790s. And they're not. Okay? They're not. The 790s were a little bit better than the 225s. However, the 243 or the 245s are a different story. Different story altogether. So the 790s, although hollow bodies, were excessively strong. And they're a little bit longer in the blade length, where the 225s were taller with a slightly wider sole. The 245s came out and did a little bit better. Anders Verbeck, is there a way to make a driver face feel softer by using a different shaft? I've got the TSR4 with a stock shaft, but I am thinking about an Acura shaft. I don't know about making it feel softer, Anders. Okay, I just don't know about making it softer. Look at that. You won't even listen to me. There we go. I don't know about making the face feel softer. That in order for the face to feel softer, you probably would need to hit it in the better part of the face. That's probably what's going on, I'm going to guess. And that's what it is. It's a pure guess, bud. And but if you've got, it depends on what you got in your TSR4 versus what the right Acura shaft would be. Behind me is the new GX models. I recommend those highly. Jerry Wilson, I knew you're in Louisiana. Got some bad news in physical therapy. Had a setback. Uh-oh. We hate to hear that, Jerry. Hopefully you get it fixed up, bud. It is far more important that you be able to walk than you be able to golf. Phil K, what's the best, easiest way to clean up old clubs, old Mizuno T-Zoids? If you're talking about trying to bring up shine, the T-Zoids were pretty soft, so they probably got little like micro dents all over them. But what I liked using for if you don't have what I have, what I like going is you go and get those the wheels that you put in your drill, and they had nylon pads all the way around, and you could put your drill on it and lean into it, and then work. And you got to put your project in a vise of some variety with maybe that little shaft clamp. Costs $5, and then you can work on it and move the drill around and work on it that way. That was probably the easiest way. And then once you got it all to where you like it, they'll go get some of that. It's stuff to shine wheels on it, and it comes with a little bit an attachment that you put in your drill again. Starts with an F, and you can run it around, and that would clean it up really good too. If nothing else, you can always go right back to the old standby and get you some Brillo pads. They're the 000 Brillo pads. There's our buddy from Taiwan. Hey, bud. Ventus X. Ooh, wee. Yeah, that's a tough one. Now, that one's a little bit. The Ventus X is okay if in comparison to his other one, but more of the black. There's Darla. Yes, he is. Very good. Saying hello. Brian Lovering, what do you say, bud? Glad to see you here. Good picture. I like the Masters thing. Very cool. Bobby Burdett, your channel has inspired me to build a shop in my garage. Thanks for the hours of great content and learning. Bobby, you're more than welcome, sir. That's kind of how I started. I started in my garage. It was like the world's nicest garage, I will have to say, because you go and do it. Now, I had the advantage in this neck of the woods. Cabinetry building was a big thing. And so I was able to go get the cabinets that I needed and bring them back and make my shop. But good luck. I'm here to tell you, take your time, build it the way you want it, and get it the right space so that you have a good workflow. Darren, have been building clubs for a couple years, but I am in no way your level. Where can I find a low-cost belt sander? You know what? Somebody else asked me that question, and I'm going to give you the same answer. Go to Grizzly Woodworking. They have a 1x42 belt. The footprint's a little bit big, but it's a less expensive version. And that's what I started out with that. I bet I still have one in the garage. And it's a square foot. And the reason why it's a bigger footprint is because it had a disc sander on the side. That's basically the reason why. But the belt itself, the belt sander itself was really, really good. All right, really, really good. My arms were reshifted with X100. Okay. Let's see. Watch this happen. Watch this. See if I can make it go. How about that stuff, huh? How about that? Okay. I can afford those TS1s from Golfworks. Are those any good? Love the crown grips. You know what? I just had a guy bring in some TS. The Golfworks has really upped their game in the look of the TS line. They have a 1, 2, and a 3 now, and none of them look bad. And Golfworks really doesn't make a bad iron that I'm aware of. And those are their kind of like, I call them filled with iguana spit, but they're pretty good clubs. They have a TS line. What or no, the ST line. The ST line's kind of not a beginner, but it's average golfer type thing. But the TSs are pretty good. The crown grips the Royal Crowns. They're okay. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon, but they're okay. I don't know, dude. Flitz. That's exactly what it's called. You're correct, sir. Had in a long time. Okay. Adam Mitchell. Had my irons reshafted with X100s, but my top iron he put in a 200, said it matched the steps. Can't find any enough on the X200U. So Adam, don't sweat it, dude. The X200, the X100, X300, X400, X500, all it is stuff about weight sorting. Okay, weight sorting. Now what you have here is the X200U is actually a utility iron shaft. That's what the U means. What are some of the favorite shafts for swing speeds around 100 with a driver, something softer in the handle to help with the slice? 100 mile an hour. I would probably go with. Give me a second. I'm gonna look. There's a couple. It just depends on how you're swinging. If you're an aggressive guy, the Acura GX Blue and the 50 gram and the 50 gram and the R or the S. I'd probably go with the S in that one. Would be one I would put out. This is the longest stream. You are correct. Miss Robin just gave me this, guys, so we're going to have to get to the end of this one. All righty. Just sent a classic photo. Oh, no. Oh, Darlie, keep it up. I'm going to start telling stories. Have Adam's Ideal hybrid set 14 years old. Dude, those are not bad. Idea irons, when Adams was in the deal and that was the idea, those things were really good. You're more than welcome, Darren. Yeah, the 30. So Phil, the hobbyist belt sander, the 30 runs a lot faster, and that's the thing that scares me the most. The 1x42 is slower, so you can make mistakes and not be penalized real bad. That's the only reason why I would. What do you say is a better alternative to similar profile of the I don't know. Actually, it's these guys right here. It's they're VRTXs from Acura, and they are in the Project X line, and I would go probably around 70 or 80. No doubt. Down the last two. Started playing back at Health Force 12 years off. I swing 7 at 68. So what you're probably looking at here, bud, and compared to what you were doing with the Adams idea, is the idea is probably not bad, but the shafts you have probably are, especially at 68. If you're talking about 68 mile an hour, you probably want to go maybe just a hair lighter and maybe a hair more flexible. And at the current state of what things are at, since you've been away for so long, you might want to consider a new set, and the technology and the improvements will be staggering. Mr. Adam, you are good to go. Love the channel. Thanks for the content. Guys, you are more than welcome. I appreciate it. We had a whole bunch of brandy new folks on here, which is awesome. Don't forget the video tomorrow. It's coming out. It's going to be bore through versus bore through. and then we'll start right back into the clubs I chose. You heard it here first. That's the reason why we're doing the live stream. And as always, guys, I appreciate it. We went around the world with folks that we were talking to. Charlie, thank you. Matt, thank you. Peter, thank you. All you guys, thank you so very much. And as always, let's see your scores go low.